Thank you so much for staying with us at The Legal Mind. This is episode 3. Today we are focusing on the devolution, the county government, the second-tier government that we are having in Kenya. Remember, in Kenya we have got 2-tier government compared to other countries. Some have 3 like Nigeria. Others also have 1. I think we don't want to go much into that. But we are going to focus on the 3 important documents that county government have. Document 1 is the CIDP, County Integrated Development Plan. Then we have the ADP, the Annual Development Plan. Then we have the CFSP, County Fiscal Strategy Paper. What are these documents? What do they mean to common Mwananchi? And what role should the common Mwananchi play in order to make that the devolution run smoothly? And they are also participating fully according to the Constitution. And remember, everything that the government is purporting to do, the common Mwananchi must be involved. And this is called the public participation. With me is Zedikiah Adika, the chair, Cost of Society Network, and also advocate of the High Court. We are going to dig deep. Na hii ya leo itakuwa moto kuliko ya jana. Karibu sana wakili. Na sitaki hata kuongea sana. Kwanza hali yako iko namna gani?
Tuko salama. I think because we are talking about devolution, I have also to speak about what has just happened to devolution.
Yes.
I think Nairobi today was signing an agreement to take some roles from the county government to the national government.
Yes.
Which for me, I think is a drawback to what devolution is intended to be. President Uhuru did this with NMS. There was not so much participation of the people, not so much accountability, though the precision with which the person from the army was doing it was impressive, but that is not how we intended that devolution need to run. 2, in this direction, we are also having elections for LSK, and therefore it is a good week for the legal mind, just as it is bad for the devolution. You have introduced some documents, but let me give you a background. The intention of these things that you see called planning document. Initially, we used to have city councillors.
Yeah, I remember those days.
City councils. Mombasa used to be called municipal council. And when we had this document, the constitution, the governance structure changed. We had a central government which had almost all the resources. And then that changed to the fact that those resources are now shared between the national government and the county government. I also want to make a clarification that in a recent case of Court of Appeal, there was a decision about CDF.
Yes.
And if you read that decision, you will notice that CDF has been clustered as part of the monies for national government. It is not money for county government. So what the court is saying there is that, yes, this is CDF. It will only be implemented at constituency level, but it is money for national government. And it should be implemented by individuals from the national government. Now, when we changed the infrastructure of governance, there was call for people to participate. I remember very vividly, one of the key proponents of devolution was this political party called Orange Democratic Party.
Yeah.
And there was a gentleman called Kajwang. He became the first senator of Homa Bay.
Of Homa Bay, yeah.
Yes, not the current Kajwang, his elder
Senator,
brother.
Was it called
Otieno
Kajwang?
Otieno Kajwang.
Yes.
And when they were doing the campaigns, I remember it's all over social media. It's saying that we want to devolve power.
Yes.
We want to deconstruct power. It was a way of taking power from a centralized government, and it happened in so many ways.
Mm-hmm.
One, by the processes of budgeting, because initially the budget was only made by the president and his few cabinet ministers. And so he would say, David has been insulting me. Where he comes from, no development. Na hiyo ndio ilikuwa siasa mbaya, maisha mbaya. But now things changed. That budgeting is taking part of all government circles and people have to participate.
Yes.
Now, in that process of participation, that's how these documents were placed. I want to share with you a number of planning documents. Actually, the CIDP is very focused close to budget. That's why people speak about it a lot. But there's sectoral planning document and there's special or spatial planning document. Those planning documents, those are for 10 years. And they are intended to look at how are we planning Mombasa in the next 10 years.
Yes.
And it is reviewed every 10 years.
Yeah.
But the closest to budgeting document is the CIDP.
Yes.
And this has been attuned to the term of a governor. So that if you have a manifesto, immediately when you get into office, you turn your manifesto into actionable points. And that is why you place them into a CIDP. So then, even if you are a government within a different political party, and you are getting into a government which was dominated by a different political party, which had very different views, you have an opportunity to put your views and your manifesto into this document. And I remember having conversations with the last regime of MCS, telling them, you have been promising people things around here, but now a CIDP is being established, but you are not there. You don't even know that what is going on. Then tomorrow you will find yourself in a situation where the things you said are not
there.
They are not nowhere to be.
I think that is still happening with the current regime. Even the member of county assembly of current, most of them does not even know when the document is being discussed in the parliament or in the assembly, and even when the document is passed, they don't know exactly what it is in that budget. It is that document.
Yes. So that's the tragedy we have. We have never really synchronized voting with the people who know what needs to be done and performance, and we always assume that then the technocrats in the office are going to guide them on what to do. But sometimes they are very powerful that those technocrats keep just watching and now they run to court and come to us and they want to respond to questions, which is wrong.
Yes.
Now, the CIDP is a 5-year development plan, if I have to define it. And let me tell you that a CIDP is not only confined to county development. It is development that is intended to be within that county in the next 5 years.
Yes.
So now, for instance, I give an example of what the president is talking about Singapore. And he's talking about 5 trillion. So his medium plan thinking is that in the next 5 years, we could get 5 trillion, which we will spend. Now, in the current CIDP, this is a 3rd generation CIDP. The first one came with the first governor, the second one from 2017 to 2022. Now we have 2023 to 2027. So that is where we are. For instance, Mombasa has one that is costed to 120 billion, 100.9 billion. 120.9, that is the exact word. Now, you will notice that if you look at the monies that come from national government, including on-source revenue, because revenue that we use to develop the counties are largely in 3. One is the donor money or grants or all that. 2 is the on-source, the one that we generate here, based on the county responsibilities. 3 is the equitable revenue share that comes from the national government.
From the national exchequer.
Yes, from the exchequer.
Yes.
The one that we can now say embody give
He's
to
now
Mombasa.
managing, yes.
So those three, if you
Yes.
look at them for Mombasa
Yeah.
alone in the 5 years, it may not be more than 75 billion. Yeah, it may be between, I think it's between 70 to 80 billion maximum. So we have up to 120 billion. If you look at on source revenue, pesa za donors na
mashirika
nini,
donors, yeah.
na pesa kutoka national government, it could be 120. But if you look at Mombasa, I want you to look at Mombasa very well. I don't know whether you were here just the other day, but you will see this road to it's called Kibarani.
Yes, the Kibarani
The
one.
Kibarani.
Yes.
It used to be a very thin road.
Yeah,
and
I remember.
there used to be a lot of snarl-ups there.
Yeah.
That was probably 5 to 10 years back. But now the closest is the Jomvu road. From Jomvu going the way to Meritini, you will notice that that road has been worked within this duration.
Yes.
It could have been planned earlier. So the national government should be able to cost it and place it in CIDP and say it is working within this duration.
Yes.
Same to the road between Twapa coming to Shanzu, all the way to the bridge.
Lights. Yes.
It is also being expanded, and it is part of what should be in our CIDP.
Yes.
Then you would have, for instance, water. I think county does not provide water to everyone in Mombasa. There are people who also provide water, mosques, so actually, in actual sense, that should also be costed. So that if you have this CIDP, you are looking at Mombasa in 5 years, wholesomely. That is what is expected to be in that document.
To happen. So in short, is that the formation or the process of having a CIDP must include the national government agendas, must also include or incorporate the donors' agendas,
the
private sectors, and also the county government now.
Yes, and let me be honest.
Yes.
This CIDP is the one where civil society participated in the
Fully.
greatest extent.
Yes.
Because in 2018, we took them to court.
Yeah.
When they messed up the CIDP of 2017 to 2022.
Yes.
It was nowhere. It was provided. The last regime just behaved in a way that you can't define. So we took them to court, and we made sure that few things happened. One, that there will be structures when you are setting up a CIDP.
Yes.
So when these people were coming to office, they actually wrote to me as the head of civil society to provide names of people into technical groups.
Yes.
And I met my team, and every thematic group, I have 6 thematic groups for youth, women and gender, land, governance, which one else? Women and gender, governance, PWD.
I think health is also there.
What?
Health.
Yes. We put it together with gender.
Yes.
So all these 6 thematic groups met and gave me their best, and I gave them to the county and said, as we work around this is the team from civil society. So we were insistence on processes as civil society, that this process must be as inclusive as possible. I think I even engaged colleagues from the media
most of us were engaged. And the problem is coming in whereby now there's a process of making this document, and you will see the way you just said that the county government must behave the way they want to behave, and sometimes they even go ahead not including the opinion from the Kenyans, let's call them the common Mwananchi, and then they want this document to pass until they make their budget and everything is done without consulting the people that this business is meant for them. So how important is it constitutionally that the common Mwananchi must participate, and how should it be done so that they also understand actually what is the role of this and how does it help them and how important it is in the formation of the county government and ensuring that the development, which is going to happen, does not single out some areas, but also work equally to other areas, because in Mombasa, like we have 30 wards, and you will see not all members of county assemblies are coming from one political party. Some are independent, some are from the opposition party, but you see now with the behavior of political intolerance, others are going to be
are likely to be left out. Now that process is very well guarded.
Yes.
There are guidelines for establishment of CIDP. I remember in the first CIDP, when I went to court, I was part of the legal team. Actually, I did a lot of research then. And then I found those guidelines, and they had not followed a single of them. So we pushed them until then the court gave some directions on how this specific one was going to happen. So in the establishment of CIDP, there are guidelines, and these guidelines were passed these ones were, the latest, were passed by Oturi Atani, the
Okuri Atani, the former
yes,
CS for finance. Yes.
And when they were passed, then we had to follow them. And in following them, there is an established process there. First, how data is collected, but I'll not speak about those ones. I'll speak about how communities are engaged. There is a stakeholder forum that is set up, and that is where us as civil society placed people. Now, in that stakeholder forum, like you said, national government must bring their people. County government, of course, they will be the driving team.
Yes.
Together with the Department for Finance at national government.
Yes.
And then there's the private sector, the civil society, and certain groups, like unique groups like PWD must be included, even the youth. And then once they have made the initial process, by the way, it starts with the review
of the previous
one.
So what does the review mean?
A review means we look at how did you implement the other one?
Okay.
At what point did you mess up?
Yes.
And so that's where I was coming to, where now public is going to get involved. After this team of diverse inclusion being set up, they will come up with some sort of a draft. Then it will be given to technocrats. Now you leave it to professionals, specific professionals, to just deal with it and make it, align it to all policies that are needed. The other thing that must happen in this process is you must look at, for instance, we are looking at Vision 2030 as a nation. The African view of Vision 2063. Yes, you look at global visions.
Yeah, the
SDG must be included. So you have to look at how you are aligning it, because that alignment will also help you get funds. If you are doing things that are being implemented at SGD level, then they will say, okay, let's take this money and implement in Mombasa, because the CIDP has aligned itself to this one.
Yes. So before we go on, can you just give us an example by aligning an SDG approach in the formation of that document, which is very crucial and fundamental? What could be the example that you can give in Mombasa County? One of example of the projects that were done in line of aligning it with the SDG.
I can look at a line of access to justice. That is where I practice. The national government has an access to justice office here. And in that access to justice, that department was invited. So when monies are being provided for ensuring that the lowly provide access to justice, the people from the judiciary as well sit here. And the current Chief Justice has a transformational vision that ensures access to justice. They want to change. They look at community, that it can change when people can get justice. And that one is also funded. Now, when that fund comes,
yes,
and you have aligned it to the SGD, then even the civil society can get money and implement activities that align to what government thinks. So that then you reduce some frictions in how implementation is done. And so you say we have a combined vision of growth tomorrow. We, like myself, I envision a situation where every Kenya can access justice.
Yes.
Yeah. The county and the national government and the judiciary may be providing magistrates and doing those basics, but for me, can the poor go to that court? So you marry those ones and you get support and you continue to implement.
Yes,
so,
yes.
The other thing that Mwananchi, after those experts have done their thing,
yes,
this document is now taken out to the public. It is not for civil society, it is not for government, it is for the public. Why? First, because it is a dictate of the Constitution. Two, it is that public that will implement it. Three, it is that public that will fund it. Four, all of you in leadership can go tomorrow, but that public is likely to be there
to remain,
to ensure that this is implemented. So sustainability is to marry what you have with what the public wants. The other thing that Mwananchi have to do once it is established, of course, it will go to the governor, will sign it, and it is required that there's approval from the assembly. And then once that happens, it should be launched. I don't know whether these people launch or they just throw it to the
I've never seen it
to the website. Yes, it should be launched.
But again, before you move on, because we are now giving a civic education to the common Mwananchi, there's a process that you said that first we relooked the other one, if it is fully implemented, where they went wrong, or what should be advanced. So, and then now it is left for the technocrats, and then now the technocrats put it back to the people. Now, at what point does now people have to put their ideas? Let's say, for example, I'm coming from Nyali, Kongwea ward, and maybe as part and parcel of that community there, in our area, there's lack of water. And I could ideally put it as a first priority of a development that I wish my county to work on in this process of 5 years. Maybe we have a sewage system problem, we have water problem, we are lacking the ECD classes, but now our priority is water. At what point do we now have the opportunity to press our problems and put it in that CIDP?
Yes. Now you see the weight of the technocrat does not stop when they complete the drafting. The listening to communities, taking it to public, is part of collecting views. The initial point of provision of views is from duty bearers, and that is where I was telling you where they sit and they listen to people, they provide the information. When they review the other one, they already know that 1, 2, 3 are going to be undertaken. Then when it is taken to public, then it comes to mainstream formulation process. That means that the county executive committee, which is our waziri, they have to pass it. Now, when they pass it, they have to look at what are the key priorities. From the time we spoke to those people from civil society, to these departments of government, and to when it was taken to public participation, what is the public participation report saying? What can we take as priority? Once they are convinced that these are the key things that are giving problems to people, then they list them as these are the priorities based on, actually, I have been very impressed by the way the recent spate of public participation reports indicate. And this report, sometimes they say, this matter of environment, we were told about it, and it took like 10% of the conversation we had. So we had to put it as a key issue. Yes, and we have to make it as a priority area. Yes. And I told you, this process of formulating a CIDP is the conversation between the ruling class and the people. Now, this public participation does not just happen once. The executive will take it to public participation, and they will be giving a public participation report and agree on priorities and even cost and have estimates. That's why I'm telling you about 120 billion.9.
Yes.
Then it goes to county assembly.
Now, the executive, that is, you mean the governor and
Yes,
the
the
CC
governor
for finance and planning.
that is an executive process. It is a formulation process.
Yes.
Then there is an approval process that happens at the county assembly.
Of the county assembly.
Now, when a county assembly goes to public participation, their focus is not the same as what the governor did.
Okay.
Their focus is to confirm whether the things the people said are in this document. It is some sort of validation of a document. And so when they are informed that this validation...
So does it mean that the county assembly must also go to the same location that the executive went?
They may not go to the same location.
Okay.
But let me tell you, stakeholders are key and are known. So once, for instance, the civil society knows that there's going to be public participation, they'll be looking at the document they presented and what has come out of assembly. And then
actually,
they
my
compare.
question should be, should they go back to the same stakeholders, not the location, I mean?
Yes, ideally, what should be happening, and that is what we were pushing, I am not able to confirm whether they did this, but they did extensive public participation. It was intended that it should go to every ward. That is at Mwananchi level.
Yes.
Of course, this public participation will go to lawyers. They will provide their things. You will have players like us in civil society, the business community, but the general community person, it should be going to the ward.
Okay.
Once it goes to the ward, then MCAs as well, they need to go to the ward, so that then you close on key areas that are being repeated. Because if you take it to different locations, you may find a completely different population that thinks differently. But if you conduct a proper public participation process, you should not be bothered about what other person is going to do, because you could show in a report that we went here, these were the views. And most likely, if you do that within 1 to 3 months, the views are likely to be the same.
So after now, the member of county assembly take it for the public participation for the second time, not to confirm or to validate. They now bring it back to the county assembly for debate.
Yes.
And then?
Once they debate, and it is sometimes put to a committee.
Yes.
Most likely the committee for finance.
For finance, yes.
That committee is going to is likely to summon every waziri to come, and then they explain to them, especially if there are varying changes. But if there are none of those varying changes, then it is going to be approved. Once it is approved, it's assented to. Just like any law, then it becomes a document. Then now is you move to a process of implementation. Now, the CIDP in itself has an implementation matrix, and you are able to go to the CIDP today and look at year 1, did you do this? Year 2, did you do this? So the Department of Finance has a planning department within the county that should be reviewing internally. But that review, for me, is one of the things where community need to be. So the community, apart from establishment, their biggest role now becomes implementation. And in this implementation is where you have a review. Actually, it should be, for me now, if we are serious, we need to have a review of the CIDP, because we are past half the time. So we need to review and see, in the last 2 years and a half, have you done what was there, or you did your things?
That is perfect. And again, in the process now the members of county assembly have took it to the public participation for the second time for the validation and passed it. Is there any timeline that you must do this before this time?
No, what now happens is the implementation matrix requires that yearly you take a segment, you take to the ADP.
Yes.
Now
yes,
the
yes,
annual
yes.
development plan
Okay.
is now a plan for every year, where all the projects and developments are also placed there.
Okay.
Yes, but it really narrows to the county development. The beauty of every ADP is that it looks back. And so if you go to the ADP now, you will also see what were the projects that were there, what is their status. Have we done up to 10% of this road? Have we done up to 5% of this? What have we done here and there? So if you go to an ADP, you will look at the projects that we should implement for this year, but you should also be able to see the projects that were there last year, whether they have been implemented or not.
Or stalled.
So
Okay.
if you look at that, then if we follow it strictly, then in the 5 years, we should be having a CIDP that is entirely implemented.
Now take us through the implementation of this CIDP, and you've just said that the implementation of it depends on now the annual development plan.
Yes.
Now we passed it, it's now a document, it's not an act of Parliament, if perhaps I may say. Now we are now approaching formation of another document, the annual development plan. Yani mipango ama mpango wa mwaka wa maendeleo wa ugatuzi ama wa serikali ya county. So in this process, is now we are going to start again from the public participation. We are going to start again from the county assembly. Now take us through the process of having now the ADP and the implementation of it.
Now, perfect question. You have to go back to the people.
Again.
Yes, and this is why. The CIDP is an imagination of 5 years.
Yes.
The truth is different. Truth is likely to be how much money do I have for this financial year?
Yes.
So you would look at, I expected to have 20 billion. Like now I'm telling you, if you have 120 billion, if you divide it by 5,
that is 6. That is 120 by 5.
Yes.
5 goes into 12 how many times? 2. That could be 12.
24. Around 24 billion.
Yes.
So you expect that in every financial year, Mombasa has 24 billion.
Yes.
But if you look at Mombasa realistically, in this financial year, we have 15 billion point something. That's what we have in our budget. So you have a gap of 9 billion. So we say
deficit,
yes. We say now, what do we do?
Yes.
Yeah. You have aspects of, for instance, when there was COVID, it is something that we never saw. So when you are developing the CIDP in 2017, you had no idea that there's going to be something here called COVID. That will completely twist your life. That is why you have to look at a CIDP in every financial year and put it into an ADP, looking at your aspirations and the realities that you have. Now, once you do that, you are engaging people into a plan of development in the next 1 year. Now, once you have an ADP, there are a few things that you have to do as the Minister for Finance at the county level. Let me take this at the county level, because this thing is also expected at national level, but now at our county level.
Let's deal with the county first. At
county, this gentleman must take this budget to this ADP to the community by 1st of September. And because you have to table it into the assembly, and the assembly must also do its own public participation to verify whether what you had is happening. We've had 2 schools of thoughts. The county currently has been bringing us an open document and say, what are your priorities for this year? What are an open one? But in my experience and expectation, and if we are to go by the ideals of the CIDP, that those projects, what you need to do is to extract that 1 year, bring it, we look at it, are they real projects? Do we still need it? Or did somebody come in between? Because you may even get an investor who comes in between and does everything that you think you would do for 5 years. So you won't need to do it. So if you have such circumstances, then you change even the money, you change the course a bit. It is allowed.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
but it has to be taken to the public. You could have a situation where I gave you a situation of COVID. You even have a certain pandemic that has come,
maybe floods.
and floods, and you have to now deal with that. Now we are dealing with lack of rain.
Yeah. The drought now. Yes.
In some areas, say northeastern, they have to capture the fact that now there's a drought. Their CIDP may not have foreseen that drought, and so they may need to take a little bit more money to cover drought and save life, as opposed to building roads that you can build when people are alive. So one of the things when they reviewed this CIDP that they pointed out was that the political class, the duty bearers, were changing their minds a lot. And this comes with something called supplementary budget. So you see, when we are doing a budget, you mentioned them, that we will have an ADP, which is an extract of the CIDP. Then we go to CFSP. Then we go to budget estimates in April. Then you have an appropriation act in around June. Now, once we do that, communities have been involved. There is a rule that it is not admirable to change the budget within the first 3 months. So they wait for 3 months, then they overhaul supplementary budget. I can give you an example of the last financial year.
Yes.
Mombasa County and all these coastal counties passed budgets of around 68 billion. They ended up with budgets of 72 billion at the end of the financial year, because I was looking at the control of budget report, and there was a difference of around 72 billion. Now the implementation, the money they were able to raise was 67 billion. So you see, this change of figures is where stealing happens. This is where you have projects that stall.
Yes.
Because we started a stadium, we got in somewhere, things changed. You saw what Mbarire did.
Yes.
There was an industrial park that she was building. There was 10 million that was put there. She took that money and used it for Boda Boda.
For Boda Boda, yeah.
Yes, and she was saying, we will give back the money.
Yes.
So you see, when you change the course of the finances on the basis of your own whims, and not taking this document back to the public participation, you are doing a misnomer. You're doing a mistake to the planning document. You will not keep to the planning document.
And now you're messing up the document and even the priorities of the Kenyans. Huh?
Yes.
Okay. So then if this ADP meets an extract of the CIDP, and again, we need now to take it back to the people and then tell us, because in Kongowea or in, let's say, Changamwe, you guys wanted 1, 2, 3, but now in this budget, we want to focus on only 2 or one project because we have 30 projects to achieve. So when they bring now a plain paper, what does it mean to those people who already had something in mind? Or through the technocrats, can they have identification of the priorities of the project so that when they get it back to the people, and the people have the voice to say, this is priority according to how you've selected it, and now we are also embracing it and we need it done.
My problem with that issue of plain paper, and I've told them, we have written a petition, by the way, to the county assembly recently that is addressing almost all these problems. We have told them that, look, when you give me a plain paper, I'll write the world. But when you give me a paper that I had spoken to, I will think that, boss, siko na maji, na sijapata hiyo maji. So sitakuja na mimi nataka swimming pool, na maji sijapata, sina shule ya chekechea. the second problem is you start telling people afresh. Because somebody will come telling you about a project that is intended to be done by national government, and they are telling you as a county, they are telling you our security is bad, put some money for security. Now, if you look at where you want to put the money for security, you are just wasting people's time. What you need to do is to come with that document and tell these are the things you say.
You said.
Do you still need them? Then they will say, no, we don't need this. We don't need this because we have had this intervention. We have had this intervention. This has become our priority area.
Yes.
Then you will have made that public participation easier. And by the way, public participation is intended that every time you conduct public participation, you provide information ahead. The reason that information is needed, and actually the law says not less than 7 days, people need to have gotten a document, so that we can go and caucus and look at that document and say, you have brought this, but this is not what we said. This is the current priority. But if you give me a plain paper,
you're bringing
I
another
will write
problem.
everything.
Okay, so now let's say they have given you the paper, the document and the project that you guys prescribed before, and now you are now ticking the boxes. Say, hey, now let's give us this first in this year, fiscal year 2025-2026, and now you bring the document back to the assembly. What is happening in the assembly after the ADP document is now brought back to the assembly?
Yes, once the executive has completed same name formulation of the ADP, it is taken to the assembly, and then the assembly, their role is still to validate. Same thing. Then once they are validate and they find that this is proper, then they approve. Now that approval process means that all the institutions of the county have looked at this document, they agree, and therefore this is the document that we need to implement. Now you put it into CFSP. CFSP will be looking at the ceiling. I would want to take my lady to the best destination in this world, but then I have only 100,000, and so I have to just go to Zanzibar. So I have to have a ceiling of Zanzibar or Bamburi.
Yes.
Let me say.
Yes.
So that ceiling looks at these are the areas, priority areas. We give them slightly more money because people have really pointed out that there's need here.
Yeah.
So there's priorities, you put ceiling to them, then you look at performance. How did it perform, and how is it likely to perform? That includes the questions around how is even this department absorbing money? Because there are some departments that you give money and they don't use. They don't really absorb. So those are a little bit technical issues, but they still have to go to the public, and public have to say, okay, may pay MCS 200. That's how the ceiling for MCS, because if you give these people 10 billion, they will use all of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, they will find a way to be going everywhere to use that money.
Yes.
So you got to put ceiling, and that ceiling is the beauty of it is the Auditor General is going to look at, did you pass the ceiling? Yeah. Now it will also look at.
Now, before we move further.
Yes.
The CFSP, I think let me now tell the Mwananchi what is it.
Yes.
This is the county
fiscal
strategy paper.
Yes.
That is being done by the executive now.
Yes, it's first at the executive.
Yes.
Same have to be approved by the assembly.
By the assembly.
Yes.
So the executive is doing it after the approval of the ADP.
Yes.
The governor cannot come out with it without the approval of the ADP.
Yes.
Because now the ADP is going to help inform the CFSP.
Yes, yes. Now, let me tell you
a
practical example. In the last financial year, the reason we pushed the county, you saw some of my people went to the assembly and made noise. And then we did this petition. The reason was, up to that time, we had not seen the ADP from the assembly. The executive brought it,
Yeah.
And up to that time, they had not provided it. Now look at the misnomer.
But the executive already made the CFSP.
Yes, you see, when the executive brings it, there are timelines.
Yes.
Very specific that within this time, you have to take it to the treasury at national level and to the office of the control of budget. The control of budget will not give you money if you don't give it that document. So that means the document that the control of budget had is one that had not been completely done, had not been completely approved by the County Assembly of Mombasa. And so our people, we wrote letters, we asked them slowly, hivi wanafikiria tunacheza. We had to make noise and to also tell the control of budget, look, you have a fake document because that document was not passed by the assembly. But sometimes this is hidden in their own politics, that the governor either have to do this because before we pass this, and the governor may be saying, Mimi, I'll not pass this because this is my position. Yeah. Now, that kind of joke is what we must remove Mwananchi from.
Yes. From a layman's perspective, what danger could it cause if the governor or the executive is preparing a CFSP paper or document without the ADP, and now the governor is going ahead and deposit it to the treasury and the another destination without this, without the origination of the ADP? What danger could it cause in terms of devolution?
The danger is you are going into, you know, this, by the way, let me tell you the position. Whatever we are doing now is for the next financial year. Yes. So you may end up with a document if the CIDP, the ADP has not been approved and we are at the stage of CIDP. That means that we are using a draft ADP to put into a CFSP, which is still draft. The law requires that you complete this at the process of county executive signature. When it is being passed to the assembly, it is still a draft. It becomes a whole document when the assembly participates. And the value is this.
Yes.
The executive may have listened to us and put their own things. Now, there is a reason for validation, which validation the role is given to the assembly. So if the assembly has not done validation, they have not come to us and asked whether these are the things we gave to the executive may be doing their own things. And those own things may end up in CFSP, and they end up into the
treasury,
to the budget estimates, then into a budget. Yeah, because I remember, like the one that we were challenging, they were passed in June, all of them. So you mean, you know, we have not passed the ADP, we have not passed the CFSP,
yes,
we have not passed the budget estimates. You have gone all way, and in June you bring all of them. So there's no processing. You know, the intention is that you process these things pole pole, and that is why, in the wisdom of the Constitution and the people who drafted the Constitution and the first laws to implement the Constitution, they intended that Mwananchi work together with the county and understand that this is where we are going to. By the way, if the county uses the resources properly, one of the things that the counties have is money for sensitization. They are required to budget for sensitizing communities on these processes. These things you see Adika doing here and yourself in the radio, they have money. They need to be paying a lot of money to these radios to sensitize communities in these processes, so that by the time we have a budget, yule mama mboga anaelewa kwamba hii budget imetengezwa namna hii, na kwa hii budget kuna pesa yangu kama mama mboga shilingi 10 ama shilingi 20. Yeah. And now the other thing I wanted to share is, you see, all this process of formulation is largely looking at the revenue that is already there. Now that revenue, like I told you, there is own source that is developed locally and the one that comes from national government. So that revenue is what finances the budget. Yeah, when you look at it, you must look at it in the way, how do we get this money?
Yes.
Yeah? As well as how do we spend this money? Yes. And now how do we get this money is where the finance bill always comes
in.
And it is required to be looked at 3 months after the budget is passed. Though at national level, there have been cases that have challenged that if you want to talk about expenditure, you got to start with revenue. And that is why you always have a debate of finance bill at around the same time when the budget is being implemented. You see the war that starts around April, May, and June. Yes, and at June,
So what does the law require? Should we have the finance bill first or the budget?
Yes, the law has now forced members of parliament to ensure that the finance bill is looked at, because you can't be telling me I'm budgeting for money, I don't know where it will come from. Yeah.
That is perfect. Now, again, does it come out that it is the fiscal paper or the fiscal strategy paper that the common Mwananchi is not participating at?
No. Actually, in actual sense, it is required that by 28th of February, the public participation has happened and it is being taken to county assembly. So those timelines are very strategic. I do the CIDP, I get into ADP, I get into
CSFP.
fiscal strategy paper. This fiscal strategy paper, nowadays, they marry it with the strategy paper for debt, so that you will find the debt that Mombasa owes people, suppliers. If you look at CFSP, you will know how much Mombasa owes people. It must be in there. But ideally, that debt paper is one that should also be discussed on its own. So that we know that these suppliers of yours, what did they supply? Air, or is there something that they supplied?
So I think there's a good explanation on the 3 documents, and in our next episode, we're going to focus on the budget process making, so that the common Mwananchi understand everything into detail, because now the county government has refused for this civic education. Yeah. So let us discuss something small, and I want to align it with the process of everything that we are saying. Mombasa County has been in the media of awarding 17 billion to a company in Ghana for waste management. And the government has been taken to court for that. People are citing lack of public participation and so many things. Now, the common Mwananchi outside there, all through politics of the opposition, are now saying that this money is too big that the county government cannot accommodate, because it is 17 billion. So from a layman's perspective, does it mean that when the government wants to award tender, the common Mwananchi must also be involved? That is one. And how can a county government have that tender, which is double is annual budget? Yes.
Let me be honest. I have not looked at the nitty-gritties of that 17 billion. But let me say this. One, that when a project, what people need to understand in this 17 billion issue, first, that money has not come to Mombasa yet. It is intended that in the lifetime of that agreement, if it is 5 years or 10 years, 17 billion would have been spent. Now, what the county need to tell people, and that is the conversation that you have at CFSP and when you're having this ADP, the conversation should be, we have had an investor who want to pump this amount of money. Yeah. So for that reason, that investor probably has given us the following conditions. Some of the conditions may require that the county also produce some amount or resources that then end up, if you add all of them, they could be that 17 billion. So then they should tell you it is after how long of a duration. Now, after you've known how long, how much money the county is committing to put in, how much money that guy is committing to put in, then you must also look at what is in there for that guy. You remember there was a conversation about SGR and the fact that the port was part of the things that in case we defaulted, then the port would be taken. Now, if we default in this 17 billion matter, what is in there from Mombasa County? Apart from that, in the process of passing this information, you will ask that is the county assembly required to be part of that process? So that if the county assembly, you see like Adani, the county assembly, the National Assembly was part of the approval process. So if the county is required to be part of the approval process in this 17 billion, then you ask yourself, did they approve? If they did not approve, and that is a question we've had with Buxton Point and the regeneration of houses in Mombasa, that when the money is substantial enough, then the county assembly need to participate. Not all of us can participate, but then our representatives need to participate. So then they participate on our behalf. Now, when they do not participate, you have now faulted in the process, and it can be challenged in court and be dropped. And nobody wants to put 17 billion into a project, then it is dropped. So I've had a lot of misconceptions about this project. And part of it is that the money has been spent entirely or has been eaten. And
as usual.
Yes, the money has come from the county. I do not think that it had gotten to a point where implementation was beginning. And if the implementation was beginning, did the assembly participate? And I remember the assembly noting that we did not participate in that process. You either begin it afresh, and if you are doing it afresh, there are certain questions of transparency. There are certain principles that are required, because if there's such a project, means that guy is investing. An investment process into a county should be a competitive bidding process. A competitive bidding process means I'm giving Kenyans and the world an opportunity.
An opportunity, yeah.
Now, if you close it to a certain person, then questions start ringing. Why are you only giving him to a certain particular individual? So those are the questions that are being asked. And it would be important that the leadership of the county come very clean and explain to the people of Mombasa that what was this project, what is it, it is for how long? Because sometimes, let me tell you, the truth is governors are struggling with getting resources to do development, just like the national government is struggling to do that. So if they get somebody who has the financial muscle to pump into their economy, then they easily get into the drive. But that must be through a certain process, and that process is for acceptability. Finally, we may have governor today, Abdul Somad. He may not be the governor in
after the election. Yeah.
He may not be the governor. He's not likely to be the governor in past 2032, because his term, the maximum he could get is 10 years. So if this project is over that duration, if it goes beyond one term of a governor, how will the next government relate to it? And I'm telling you, somebody has plowed in 17 billion. He will not want to invest that money, and then another government comes to challenge it. If that happens, that investor will go to court, and it is us, the residents of Mombasa, who will pay. Yeah. So we also, our apprehension as the people of Mombasa is that we should not pay for this thing at long last if we did not know exactly how it came. So questions of clarity and transparency are questions that any regime that is in power need to give to people. Sometimes people overthink, because maybe my philosophy is always that if I have something that I want to share, even with the civil society, and I've thought through it and I don't see any harm, I just share it. I share it transparency as much as, and I have nothing to lose.
Yes.
Because I will have told you the truth. This is how it, and I know this is going to help us in the long run. If that is the position, then the governor needs to come out candidly, tell people exactly this is what it is, this is how much it costs. And I think, as the person who is driving this county, it is something that is going to add value to the county government of Mombasa.
Okay, thank you so much.
That must happen.
Thank you so much. I think we are ending it at that juncture. We are looking forward to have you in our next episode. And remember, we shall be having Adika back just to discuss the budget process making. And maybe we might also have another guest to help us, more specifically the economist, so that as Adika puts the law, the economist is also going to help us on how that one can be digested to you. Thank you so much for watching. My name is David Uchin, and this is The Legal Mind.